Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Just here today to kind of have a bit of a play around really. Thought I would bring along some bits and bobs and we could just kind of craft along together. So I haven't really got a concrete plan of what I'm going to do here. But what I have brought along is some laminated images that I have done. Love using kind of laminated images, and you know, they're a little bit like kind of the acetate or the transparency film in that they, you know, kind of add a different texture to your journals and your work. And I really like that. Excuse me, I was just putting my tea to the side. I really like that because you know, it's kind of then, I think, makes the page a little bit more interesting to kind of look at if it's got different, you know, different textures and dimensions on there. So basically, I have come along with pre-prepared acetate images. I have got another one here somewhere, so I'm just locating that. These ones here. Now, basically what I've done, I mean, if you haven't got a laminator, and unfortunately mine has actually just broken, so in fact I have been looking on the internet today trying to find another one, so you know, hopefully I will buy another one shortly. But what I have actually done is kind of just fussy cut out images from vintage books. I have done these similarly before using mainly printables. So what I've done here is fussy cut images from vintage books, and as you can see on these ones here at the bottom, I've also, sorry if it's picking up the glare here, sorry, I have got the lamp on so that it's obviously a bit better, you know, for you to be able to see, and obviously it's now picking up glare on the kind of shiny surface. What I've done here is obviously I've added doily onto these ones as well. And then similarly, these, if I move that out of the way, I've just got some flowers, which I've fussy cut out of vintage books. And then I've just kind of laminated them into the sheet. And then finally, these ones, slightly different. This was some vintage ephemera that I actually had. So I've copied that and literally just tore, you know, sections off. It was some vintage letters, tore sections off, and then layered up some doily pieces and some vintage postage stamps. And I thought that looked really, you know, really good and really kind of attractive. So what I thought we'd do is kind of then make some, you know, freestyling kind of some pockets here to go into your journals. So I've just bought a selection of, you know, patterned papers along, and we'll kind of, you know, just have a play around and see how they come out. So what I have done when I've done these before, as I say, I have tended to use printables in the past. And then what I've actually done is made the floating pocket using sheet music instead of scrapbook paper. But I mean, to be honest, it's, you know, exactly the same concept. I just thought that these would look rather nice on scrapbook paper. But equally, you know, you could put them onto book page, you could put them onto sheet music, you know, anything you like really. So what I'm going to do, if we start with this one, I'm just going to cut it down. And I mean, again, you know, I'm not going to be too fussy about this. So I'm just going to cut it, you know, just so it's smaller. Hopefully I'm in frame. I was keen to get on and do some process videos because I don't know whether anybody tuned into my, you know, or maybe you did tune into my last videos, but I had been away from my channel for a couple of weeks because I'd been really busy doing a custom journal and, you know, busy kind of just with family stuff. And it's funny how kind of quick that you do lose confidence, and so I was very keen to get back to doing, you know, some more process videos and things as soon as possible really, because I'd kind of got into the swing of it with my Old Mother Goose journal and was kind of doing the process videos all the time. And then having not done one for a couple of weeks, I yeah, kind of was losing confidence. So I just wanted to kind of crack on really and, you know, get back to doing it. So, I mean, as you can see, I've kind of cut this out, and then what I've done in the past when I've made these, and I've kind of, you know, referred to them as floating pockets, and I've tended to paperclip them onto a page, I have stitched them round on the sewing machine. But again, I mean, I'm sat at my son's desk where I like to do my process videos, and so obviously I didn't really want to bring my sewing machine along with me. So what I'm going to do is actually, just for kind of ease, you know, of my workspace really, I'm going to just staple them, which, you know, exactly the same results. And I mean, obviously not everybody's got a sewing machine, so, you know, it's just kind of a different way of doing it. And I mean, again, obviously not everybody's got a laminator. I mean, as I say, my one has actually broken at the moment. You know, they're reasonably cheap. I mean, the ones I've kind of found today, they're kind of about £15–20. So, I mean, they really come down in price a lot, you know, over time. So, you know, they're not kind of extortionate. I tend to treat myself to kind of 1 or 2 things per month, really. You know, be it kind of stamps or, you know, what have you. So this month it may well be a laminator. You know, maybe that will be my treat to myself. But, you know, they're really great because, I mean, obviously it's always quite handy to be able to laminate, you know, other things, schoolwork and what have you. But I mean, also, you know, for your crafting, it really, I think, adds interest to your project. So, I mean, obviously I've got this here. So what I thought we'd do is just probably staple this. I mean, obviously you don't have to staple it. You could glue it along. You know, either or really, kind of however you want to do it. So in fact, let's glue it. So hopefully my glue's going to be working okay. I've kept the lid on, which, you know, I don't always remember to do that, but I have this time. So I'm just going to run the glue along the edge, and then I'll run it along here. And actually what I might do is make this a tuck spot rather than a pocket, because we're using the glue rather than stitching, because otherwise I feel like I would have to cover the glue up on all the pages, all the sides, and then, you know, I feel like, and this is maybe just me, it would be almost kind of closing in too much. So I'm just going to kind of glue it down like that on just the 2 sides. And then you see you've got a tuck spot here. So, I mean, obviously if you didn't have a laminator, you know, what you could do is kind of, if you've got your transparency or something, you know, something clear, and then you could glue it on or staple it on just in places, and then you could always pop, you know, kind of embellishments over where you've glued it, and that would cover up, you know, the glue and things. So I mean, you know, you don't have to have a laminator. There are kind of other alternatives really. Now what I've also done, I've brought along some flowers here. So again, these are those mulberry flowers, which I've used quite a bit before, and these, I think they were from Wild Orchid Crafts. They sell the most beautiful flowers, and I've used these a lot in the past on my mini albums, kind of as they were, as the big fat chunky flowers. But for these kinds of things, what I like to do is kind of just peel the layers off, and then I can kind of just use them like that. I love how this blue looks. I find it, you know, very striking. You know, so, and then I can kind of layer some lace up. So I've got this grey kind of lace here, or I have got some of this ivory lace, which maybe will look better. See, that looks quite pretty. And again, I could just kind of put some down the side here. And then I could, you see, just pop on a couple of blue flowers like that. So I think that's what I'll go for. So what I'm going to do is actually pop that to one side while I let the glue dry before I kind of embellish that. because then I'm going to trim it down and make sure it's the right size that I'd like it and things. So I'll just pop that out the way, and what we'll do while that's drying is glue a couple of others down. So I won't do this one because obviously it's very, very similar to the last one. I've got this gorgeous purple flower here, which I did bring along some purple, well, some scrapbook paper with purple tones, which is this beautiful blue. And I just think that looks really stunning on there. So what I'm going to do is cut this around. I'll just cut that like that. And I mean, again, once you've got these laminated sheets, you see, I mean, you could make tags, you could make all sorts of things, which, you know, I think there's a lot of possibilities, you know, with these, just like kind of with using the acetate. So again, what I'm going to do, I'll just cut roughly round here, and then I'll just neaten this up once we've actually kind of attached it onto the paper. Like this. I mean, I think that looks really pretty, I have to say. Now, again, shall I staple this? I mean, what you could do is just kind of staple it literally just at the bottom. So perhaps we'll do that for this one. So I would just literally staple along the bottom. Like that. So then what you can do, and obviously the bonus is we don't have to wait for the glue to dry. Chop it off at the top, and then chop it off down here, oops, down the side, just to kind of get the edges, you know, neat how you would like them. Then chop it off here. Okay, and then again, what you can do is then decorate it, you know, however you like, really. So again, maybe pop some lace across there. I have actually got some lilac lace, which I wonder if I've actually got it in my bag. Let me just have a look. Hold on. Sorry to, you know, bore you all while I just have a rummage through my bag. But I just thought, oh, that would be really nice if I actually have got the lilac lace. But actually, I don't think I have, unfortunately. Oh, yeah, maybe I have. Actually looking, it maybe won't go anyway, but it was worth finding to have a look, wasn't it? Let's have a look. Oops. Oh, it does look quite pretty. So I'm just going to attach that lace across the bottom, and just kind of for speed, I'm just going to use my glue gun, because you know, then we don't have to wait for it to dry or anything. And in these process videos, I just think it's nice to have things that are quite instant, so you're not all just bored watching nothing. So that's like that. And I've also been working on, well, I was working on it before I started my custom journal. So I haven't worked on it obviously for a couple of weeks, but I will go back to it now. I've been doing a kind of Beatrix Potter journal, so I may bring that along for a process video at some point over the next few days, because I said when I did a video yesterday, these are so nice because they're quite chatty and friendly, and when you do the videos just kind of selling things, they're not so personal, so I quite like doing these. So I'm just going to pull another flower apart like this. And see whether I could have that kind of somewhere. Again, I mean, that looks quite pretty. So I might just kind of pop that on there. So again, just for kind of speed, I'm just going to do that with the glue gun. And then I have got some buttons here with me. And I've now been shamed into the fact that actually I've got all these buttons and I don't really kind of use them other than my little fabric button embellishments. So I would really love to actually to use a button. probably still won't. I probably still won't. A few of these are quite big, and obviously the smaller ones have actually dropped right to the bottom of the container, which I've actually put them into a little container now instead. So they're obviously just dropping down, and you know, I can't really find them small enough. So I don't want to be really boring you while I look through trying to find one. So I'll go back to my old favourite, which is a pearl. I will just have a look through my little tin that I like to bring when I do these videos, because I might have a kind of purple flower that I could maybe pop in the centre, or maybe kind of next to that. So that looks quite nice, doesn't it? I quite like that. So what I'll do, and I don't need to hot glue this one, I will just pop it on like that with the wet glue, and then a pearl in the centre of that, just to finish it off really. I mean, to be honest, it doesn't really even need one. It looked quite pretty, you know, with nothing in the centre, but just nice to finish it off like that. So there you've got a kind of tuck spot, which you could obviously, you know, glue this onto a page. Let me see if I have just something kind of plainish that I can demonstrate. So I've just got this envelope here. So if this were your page, you could just glue this onto a page. You could glue it around just three sides as a kind of side loading pocket. And then you've got this area here, which then kind of works as a tuck there. So I think that's really nice, and I quite like those. So I'm going to pop that one to one side, and then while the other one I'm sure is probably dry by now, but just while it is still drying, we'll just make a third one, because I wanted to use some of these beautiful ones with the ducks, which I thought were just lovely. So I brought along some other scrapbook paper, which I thought actually really complemented these ducks really nicely. And you know, actually I think all of them, or both papers, look really good. So what I'm going to do, we'll just cut around this one in the first instance. And these are the ones with the doilies, obviously, that I've created. Just going to just cut that one out ready as well. Like that. Yeah, I didn't really have kind of much idea what I was going to come on and do today, but I just really wanted to do something. So I thought, oh, I know, let's just have a play around with these, because I think they're very, very cute. So this particular one I think looks really nice on this bright pink background. So again, it's deciding now how to actually stick this down. So we could either stick it on the two sides or kind of on three. I mean, again, because I'm not actually stitching this with the sewing machine, I maybe will avoid doing the three sides, because I don't want to have to cover three sides up really with kind of trim. I mean, obviously if I was stitching this, it wouldn't be a problem, because I'd, you know, happily have the stitching showing. I mean, we could use this nice grey lace trim. Looks quite nice for a change, doesn't it? And strangely enough, I thought that paper was kind of universal, but actually it has kind of got a right way and a wrong way. So I think what we'll do is just kind of glue it down just on two sides again. So again, I'll just take my wet glue and just run it down the side like that. And then pop this on here like that. Now obviously that glue is showing up a lot at the moment. It will dry, you know, clear or virtually clear, you know, but obviously I need to leave it to dry. So I'm going to move that to one side. Actually I will cut it down again like I did the blue ones, just so as it's taking up less room on the work surface here. And then we'll neaten that up in a moment, you know, kind of to make it look nice and tidy. And then obviously I just have these ones with the ducks and the bird left. So it's, which one do I do? I'm just going to have a sip of my tea while I just kind of decide. Decisions, right, I'm going to go for this one. So I just cut that across, and then again, I have actually also brought along this really pretty paper, which I've been making some other embellishments from this paper. So actually I might use this one because it will then tie in with the other embellishments that I've been making. Which I might show those kind of in my next video. So again, what I might do is just make it a tuck just along the bottom, just to kind of put things in at the top, or I could just do it along the side. I think I'll go for the bottom, which probably is that way. I've been trying to use some of my beautiful bird vintage book pages because I think I did mention that the postage to send them kind of internationally is £10, which is kind of $14 listed in my shop, which is obviously a lot of money. I mean, it's such a shame that obviously the postage is so high for things. Obviously I understand why it needs to be, but you know, it really is a shame because that makes it very difficult to be able to share your things. You know, you sell the kind of bundles of pages for next to nothing, and then the postage is, you know, extortionate. So it's a shame. So, you know, I have listed just one set of book pages so far. I will still list some others, but, you know, it may be that nobody really will buy them because obviously who can blame them not wanting to pay that postage. Right, I'll move that one out the way and then bring the blue one back because hopefully that's well and truly dry now. I'll just finish my tea. So what I'm going to do is trim around it. Like that. Just trim at the top. Okay, look straightish. Right. Just a little bit more down there. Okay. So then I'm just going to take the ivory lace that we thought we would use, didn't we? And we've glued this one, remember, on two sides, so it's a kind of tuck spot like that. And I'm going to put the glue, I mean, to be honest, that glue really has dried pretty transparently, so you really can't particularly see it. You know, so I don't think I kind of need to go to too much trouble trying to hide it. But what I might do is just kind of pop some glue along this side. So I'll glue it with the wet glue. And I mean, again, you could just staple this lace on. That would also look really nice. I did a swap with Jessica Rapp, which was awesome and really, really lovely. So my goodies arrived from her this week, and she included a couple of her beautiful clusters, which was awesome to be able to see them up close and kind of, you know, see kind of how she literally really does only use one staple to hold them. I'm not sure that I could actually, you know, that I would have faith in that one staple when I've made some clusters, I've tended to glue them. But I did have a go actually a couple of days ago, kind of making some with just one staple. I think the clue is kind of like really layering them high rather than spread out, because it's when your things are kind of obviously too wide that they don't then feel like they're going to be very secure. But yes, that was absolutely lovely. So I mean, Jessica, if you happen to kind of stumble across this video, thank you so much. It was awesome swap, and love everything that was in your package, which obviously I have already emailed and said thank you so much. But just again, you know, if you did happen to stumble across this, then thank you very, very much. Really appreciate it all. Some lovely vintage goodies and things in there. Got this really striking blue bow, which I wonder about using that somewhere, because it just looks really just wow, you know, kind of eye-catching. So I might have to pop that on there. You don't kind of get this beautiful like royal blue very often, do you? And it really is very eye-catching. I don't know what that is on there. It's kind of piece of blue, I think, kind of anyway, I'll just get rid of that. Yeah, very striking colour, I must say. So what I'm going to do is hold this by what I call the legs kind of the bow, and then just glue it down like that. I mean, that just ties in so well with those postage stamps. Oh, Jessica also included some postage stamps. I had actually bought some, managed to get some a couple of weeks ago at a car boot sale. So I now have a whole abundance of stamps, which is awesome, because again, a bit like so many of these things, everywhere you hold the stamps, they just look great. You know, I mean, I kind of find that with so many of these things, that wherever you put them, it's like, oh, they look great wherever they're held. So yeah, again, Jessica, thank you so much for you know, the stamps, because I'm really, you know, loving using stamps at the moment. So really, really appreciate those. Thank you. Right, so again, could have a kind of little pearl in the center of the flower. Not really necessary, but I just can't help but think that that just finishes it off really neatly. Whoops. All fingers and thumbs again today. So I will just pop the glue there rather than on the pearl, I think, as I'm using these tiny ones. Oh, there we go. Just pop that like that. I mean, that to me, I just think looks really, really beautiful. So again, I mean, if I just bring that plain envelope back, just to kind of demonstrate if it were on a page, I mean, that just is so striking, isn't it? You know, I love the blues, love the stamps, picking up the blue of the bow, just, oh, beautiful. And then obviously, you know, your tags and things you would just have kind of tucked in just behind it like that. So love that. I think that's come out really, really beautifully. So we've just got the other two to kind of finish off now and just decorate, because I won't kind of keep you here doing any more really. I don't want to take up your whole day. So we'll start with this one. So I'll just trim it down a bit so it's not so bulky. And we just trim it across the top. I don't think it really needs trimming down the sides. Now obviously I can see that the glue is slightly wet still, you know, but that shouldn't be a problem, so I think that's still fine. So I've got some flowers here. Again, really loving using flowers at the moment. Maybe not that one. That one's quite pretty, a pale pink. Yeah, I went through a phase where I didn't really use so many flowers again, and I seem to have kind of returned to them now. I think they just, again, a bit like the postage stamps, they just look beautiful wherever you kind of put them, and they just add something really kind of pretty and delicate, don't they, to your journals and your pages. So so we could have this lace on here, maybe even just down that one side, I think, for this one. So I'm just going to again run some glue straight down the side like that. And then what I'll do is just trim that off like that, and then we could just have kind of a couple of flowers here at the bottom, or I do love using butterflies. We could kind of attach a butterfly somewhere, and that kind of just, you know, adds a bit more to the dimension, because then you've got the paper behind, you've got the lace, you've got the laminate, you know, kind of surface. You know, then it's got lots of different textures, which I really like that. You know, I think that's kind of something really fun in a journal, to have lots of different textures like that. I have got this flower which I'd actually sprayed. Just wondered whether that kind of picked up some of these different colours in the bird. Maybe not. I could have some diamante on there, because I just love, again, everywhere that I put the diamante, I just think looks gorgeous. So I mean, we could have a bit of diamante just kind of placed here at the side. I actually have got a kind of inked up, more pink coloured butterfly. We could have that somewhere. Just kind of literally playing around again, just you know, playing around, seeing what might look good, you know, and you know, there's no rules, no right or wrong, just literally having a look. So this one I would just glue down here. Like that. And I mean, that's all it is, isn't it? It's just, you know, trial and error, really. And then, yeah, I mean, I love girly things, so I think that looks quite pretty. It's going to be pleasing to me. I don't know about other people, but it's going to be pleasing to me. So we could have it like that. I have also got some Martha Stewart butterflies, which are obviously those tiny ones from the little Martha Stewart butterfly punch. Whether I have any in the right colour is another story. I've got a glittered one here, that might be quite nice to kind of add a bit of sparkle to the piece. Or I've got that dark one, which is quite nice because it kind of ties in with the bird there. So maybe I will go with that. Maybe even in the flower. Or maybe just the flower. What do you think? Again, I'm sure this does not require so much deliberation and, you know, thought going into it, but sometimes we just get hung up on the details, don't we? I've got these ones, which, again, they're just taken apart from some mulberry flowers, but they're quite nice because tea stained those and they just tie in nicely with that colour of the bird, so I might even just go with that, to be honest. So I will just glue this one on. This is just a sprayed flower. I've had these for a long time because I actually think I bought these the last time I went to America, which was a very long time ago. There we go. So yeah, that looks really nice. And then I mean, again, could add a kind of centre for the flower. I don't think it's, you know, necessarily necessary. That was a bit strange. But you know, we could do. I don't think it needs it. I'm going to take that back out. So we've got that one. So I'm going to pop that to one side to dry now. And then the final one is this one. So again, I'm just going to cut around that just to tidy it up a bit. I've got just some of the laminate hanging up here. Could have done with a better pair of scissors. I think I said that already, but never mind. Right, So we've got this one, and again we can just pop some lace at the bottom. We could even have this grey lace at the bottom of here. Maybe that would look nice. The only thing is, when I've popped lace here, it looks a bit like he's kind of floating on the lace, which I'm not 100% sure about that. Let's have a look and see what else we might have. Just going through this little tin that's just sat here beside me, just having a rummage, seeing what else I might have. Got this butterfly, that's quite nice. And colour wise kind of looks quite good with the paper, so perhaps I could use that on a flower. I know this is probably very boring for people watching. Oops, some other flowers dropped out. Right, let's try and crack on so as not to be boring. So, got this flower. Now this one I find is a little bit on the big side. We could fold it over actually and pop it somewhere. That's quite nice. Could even fold it over and kind of have the butterfly kind of coming out of it. Could fold it over and have it kind of here. That's quite nice. I wonder if I cut this flower off of the trim to use it. Oh, I'm back to that again where I'm under the light and I can't then tell which is the right side of this flower. I did this all the time in that Mother Goose video because this light's very glary, so I actually can't then see properly. Right, let's have a look. So if I was to pop that like that, I could actually even just staple that, which would look quite nice. Just quickly having a bit of a look through my stash to see what else I have here. Whether I've got kind of anything else that I would be able to use. Could have that lace more in the middle, that's quite nice. And have that maybe off to the side. That's nice and different. I don't know how many times I've used the word nice there, but sometimes it's good to do things that are a little bit different, aren't they, to what we normally do. Because it's very easy to just go with what we always do. Okay, that's quite pretty. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just staple this kind of off to a bit of an angle like that. So get my little stapler, just staple it through there. Looks really pretty. And then what I could do is actually have the butterfly still on there somewhere. And then I wonder if I could have a ticket or something kind of poking out. So I've got my folder full of kind of my stamped images that I like to use, and I have got, well actually what I could do, I've got these beautiful stamps which are kind of new to my collection. They were my purchase from last month. I could have it like that. That's quite nice, isn't it? Or, for a bit of interest, I could actually glue that down underneath the laminate, like that. And that's another thing I quite like about these, because I like the way you can have things kind of on different levels. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to take that, and then I'm going to glue it down, you know, behind the laminate itself. Yeah, I love the fact that we've got different things on different dimensions. So we've got kind of some things at the front and some things behind. And obviously when you've put your tags or what have you in here, this, you know, potentially is going to be covered up. So then it's kind of like a surprise when you move your tag out. I'll just kind of demonstrate. So if you had your tag in here, you wouldn't be seeing that at all. And then you'd move your tag and woo, surprise, it's there. I like that. And so I'm just going to glue that butterfly on there, like that. Just glue that down, try and get it so that you can read what's on the stamped image. And the wings of the butterfly aren't covering up. So there's that one. So if I just bring them back in to kind of show you just what we've done now on this video, and then that's probably kind of it for today. So we've got obviously this one, which really super pretty, and then we've got this one, which again, this is actually glued on two sides. So this one is a kind of tuck spot or pocket kind of going in here like that. Then we've got this one, which I have to say, this is my absolute favourite because I just love those blues. It's kind of, to me, it's quite mesmerising. And again, you'd pop your tag in like that. I hope those blues are picking up nicely on the camera because they look really vibrant here in front of me. And then we've got this one, which is just glued at the bottom, whoops, which again, if this were on a page, you would just literally kind of tuck things in behind it like that. And then I'll just demonstrate that one again. You've got that one. So just a quick project really, just to kind of get back in the swing of things really for me. Hope you liked it and hope you enjoyed kind of doing these little tiny embellishments. I will go back to researching my laminators now to kind of get a new one. Yeah, I mean, obviously if you haven't got a laminator or anything, then what you could do is kind of just literally glue these items on to a kind of transparency sheet or something see-through. Obviously the actual item would still then be paper, but you know, that would be fine, and you wouldn't really see the glue because obviously you're going to have glued it down onto, you know, something else, so you wouldn't really see the back of it anyway. You know, so you don't actually have to have a laminator to get a very similar effect really. But I just think these are very fun and, you know, something a little bit different. So hope you liked them, and I hope you kind of enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and love to read your comments, please. Thanks very much then. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.